The Olympic closing ceremonies are this weekend. Now Joe Amodio has our Olympic highlights special. Joe?
Thanks, Adriana. With the Olympics in the final days, let's take a look back at the major events that occurred during these games. During the Pyeongchang Games, Canada set a new record for medals, passing their previous record set when the Olympic Games were held in Vancouver. After 2 weeks of competition, Canada sits in second place overall with 10 gold medals, 8 silver medals, and 9 bronze. Dominating in freestyle skiing and short track speed skating, Canada set records, winning golds for the first time. However, the medals came bittersweet as historically, Canadian events such as curling, hockey yielded no gold medals. Canadians in these Olympics dominated in events that are not known to win medals and lost in events that seem to be a sure win. Sending a total of 226 athletes, Canadians secured medals in 27 events, with 2 more days left and more potential wins. Canadian hockey took the wrong turn in Pyeongchang. The women's team went against the tournament favorites. U.S. were hoping to extend their gold medal winning streak to 5 straight Olympics. Sadly, it turned for the worst as a late goal by the U.S. tied the game up to force a shootout. U.S. sealed the gold medal in the 6th round, winning their first gold medal in hockey since 1998. The men's side didn't have much luck either as underdogs. Germany took an early 4-1 lead in the semifinals. The Canadians closed in on the gap, but couldn't score a 4th goal, losing the game 4-3. It's the first time in 20 years where either men's or the women's hockey team didn't take home gold. The Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang were labeled as the Peace Games in hopes of bringing unification between North and South Korea. Sully Akbari reports.
Korea.
At the opening ceremonies, North and South Korea walked in under a shared unification flag. IOC President Thomas Bach says it was great to see both nations make their entry together.
It was a very emotional moment to get finally there after many years of hard work and many negotiations still taking place here. Then to see it finally happen really, I think, did not only give me goosebumps, but the whole public and I guess the entire world.
Something where it makes for a good optic. It's a little bit artificial this time because it wasn't good relations leading up to it. And I think, there was a certain degree that it did bring some optimism that we could have better inter-Korean relations. But it's not necessarily guaranteed to bring specific results.
North Korea's Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un sent his sister. Kim Yo-jong became the first member of the ruling family to cross the border since the Korean War ended to meet with South Korean President Moon Jae-in.
She runs the propaganda and agitation department. She's a very ruthless woman. And she's a very powerful woman, and I think it sends a very clear sign that they are sort of prepared to explore a different type of relationship between the two Koreas.
U.S. Vice President Mike Pence was also at the Games. He snubbed the North Koreans, vowing America will keep up its maximum pressure campaign.
We will all remain united in our shared commitment that the Kim regime in North Korea must permanently abandon their nuclear weapons program, to see it dismantled, to accept denuclearization before there is any progress whatsoever on the pressure, on the sanctions that are being placed on that nation.
I think it was a huge missed opportunity to at least establish a relationship and a dialogue with a member of the Kim family.
On the ground, the games were not without protests. Some South Koreans clashed with police as they accused Kim Jong-un of using the Olympics to take focus off North Korea's nuclear program. Sully Akbari, Humber News.
Athlete from Russia Alexander Krushinsky's doping allegation was a shock to the Olympic community. From his denial of doping to the last-minute admission to using performance-enhancing drugs are just the latest updates in a string of doping violations. The Russian doping scandal has got a whole lot more complicated now that Krushinsky, who won a bronze medal in curling, has admitted to doping. The Russian curler made the decision to withdraw his appeal shortly after aide to Russian President Vladimir Putin met with International Olympic Committee head Thomas Bach. This meeting has some suspecting of a backdoor deal.
Just to clear, it's a complete coincidence that the Russian curler decided to change his position in his CAS hearing a few hours after the meeting.
You can make that conclusion, yes. It was, I believe, a 4-minute meeting. It's his birthday, and I believe the main content was the president wishing him a happy birthday.
In light of this news, many questions if the International Olympic Committee will lift the suspension on Russians, which would allow them to parade in the closing ceremony under the Russian flag and colors.
Positive is not a good thing. Obviously, we don't want any athletes testing positive, but in this particular situation where they're really under a microscope, it does raise questions.
Closing Olympic ceremonies are set for this Saturday, and many will be watching these ceremonies closely. It is safe to say Canada is flooded with talented people, and the 2018 Winter Olympics have proven just that so far. Olympians have celebrated a few highs and lows in this year's Winter Games. Canadian athletes gave us a few first-ever moments in Pyeongchang. Canada's Tessa Virtue and Scott Moore won gold in Olympic ice dance and broke a world record. The Canadian women's curling team will go home without a medal for the first time ever. Kaylee Humphries and Felicia George take home bronze in the bobsleigh finals. Humphries is now the only Canadian bobsleigh pilot with 3 Olympic medals. George is the first Black Canadian woman to compete in both summer and winter games. Curling athletes John Morris and Caitlin Laws became the first ever winners of mixed doubles events, also becoming Canada's first Olympic double gold medalists in curling. Fans judge Olympians on their victories and failures, but they often forget that they have lives beyond their sport, making their inclusion in the Olympics that much more special. Bridget Laquette made history when she became the first Indigenous woman on Canadian Olympic team, and she took home silver in a close 3-2 shootout loss. Canada also has the oldest Olympian at the event in 51-year-old curler Cheryl Bernard.
No, I hadn't thought about it. I'm not a person who thinks a lot about age, but I'm going to own that. I'm good with it. I don't really consider age any kind of distraction or any issue. I think if you stay in shape and you think young and you are young, then you can kind of pretty much be wherever you want to be.
The first openly gay figure skater brought home gold for Canada. Eric Radford of Balmerton, Ontario made the brave decision to come out in 2014 in Sochi.
Well, when I came out in 2014, I came out because I just wanted to share my story and give other young LGBT youth somebody to look up to. And that's exactly what I would have loved to have when I was younger. And now I think my success has just amplified that position that I'm in. It's not that I've chosen it or that I haven't chosen it. It's just kind of me being myself and wanting to.
While not all Canadians will take home a medal at the end of the Games, each of them have their own story to share and inspire the nation. That's all for sports. Back to you, Adriana.
Thanks, Joe. That's all for today. Remember, you can head to humbernews.ca anytime for all the day's news and much more. Humber News is written and produced by students in the journalism program. Our technical crew are students in the broadcast videography program. I'm Adriana DeSanto. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.